Okay, so now I've created my letterhead. Now it's time to use the letterhead to write a business letter. It is important that I save this document with a different name so I don't accidentally overwrite this document with my business letter. So if I go to my File tab and my Save a Copy button, I can change the name and click Save so that I've saved a copy of this document. Then with my cursor underneath of the letterhead, I can go ahead and apply the no spacing style, Home tab in the style area, no spacing style, so that there are no spaces between the lines in this paragraph that I'm beginning. The other thing, I am going to need to use some tabs to align text. So by default, tabs are located at every 1/2 of an inch in Word. If you don't see your ruler to be able to see that, you can turn on your ruler from your View menu. Make sure there's a check beside ruler. Please don't get these buttons right here. These are our indent buttons and our margin buttons. Don't get these confused with actual tabs. And we'll look at the difference of that, but that's a common mistake. These, not tabs. Over here on the side, there are tab buttons. So as we set our tab, we need to make sure that we have the right one. As you click on it, you'll scroll through different kinds of tabs. We want the left tab, which looks like an L. When I hover over it, it says left tab. To set a custom tab stop, with that choice of the left tab in my ruler showing, I can click on the 3.5 mark right here on the ruler, and it'll put a little L right there. So I know that I have set my tab stop in that position. Now, once we set the tab, we still have to use the tab. So we set it to use the tab, you press the tab button, the tab key on your keyboard, and then you can use it. So we're going to put a current date right here in our letter, and we can use a current date formula here or a current date method in order to make sure the date always changes to whatever day I create the letter. So to do that, if I go to my Insert button, in my text area, there is an option to insert time and date. It will ask me, it'll give me a window that asks me what format of a date I want. In this case, I'm going to choose the month, the day, comma, and the year. And then there's a button that says Update Automatically. If I check this button, every time I open the document, it will update the date to be the current date. If I leave it unchecked, then it will just insert today's date. We are going to leave the checkbox unchecked in this case and click OK. It will insert the current date at this location. Now I'll hit my enter key, and if you notice, my cursor automatically goes down to the next line and aligns with the margin. This is because I just used a tab stop in the line above. I did not change my margins or my indentions. So now I can go ahead and type the inside address and salutation. Okay, now that I've entered in the text of my letter, now it's time to talk about inserting a table. So to insert a table, this is on our Insert tab. There is a Table section. If I click on Tables, I have a couple ways I can do this. If I hover over these boxes, it will give me a preview of the size table that I want. In this case, I want a 3x1 table. So if I move over to, on the first row, I move over to the third box and click, it inserts a table for me. Now, the next step is to enter data in the cells of this empty table. So as I'm typing, to move between each cell, I'm going to use my tab key. and it will automatically move my cursor between the cells, so I don't have to pick up my fingers off the keyboard. When I'm at the end of a line, when I hit enter, it will take me down to the next row in the table. And then I'll finish filling in all my dates for this letter. So now that I have my table created, we can look at formatting it. So when my cursor is inside of a table, I get a Table Tools tab with specific things for formatting my table.
So under our Table Tools tab, there's two other tabs, a Design tab and a Layout tab. So let's look at Table Tools Design tab, and let's look at Table Style Options. These are options that make tables look different depending upon if they have a header row or banded rows. If you hover over them, it'll kind of give you an idea of what they are. So I'm going to check the first column, uncheck the first column box, and then let's take a look at the table styles. Click on my drop-down menu, and please notice that you can scroll down and see many styles. So if you can't find the one you need, scroll down. But what we need today is Table 1 Light Accent 2. There it is. We'll give my table a different style. Next, we need to select one of the columns. Columns in a table are the things that go up and down. So to select an entire column, if I come to the top of the column, you'll see my arrow changes to a down-facing arrow. If I click, it will select the entire column. I would like to italicize all the text in that column, so if I go to my Home tab, in my font area, there is an italicize button. I can also use Control-I if I'd rather. Now, let's say that I have left off a row in my table. I need to add another set of dates. So to do that, there's a couple ways to do that. If I come to the side of the table between the boundary of the cells where I want to add the row, a plus will appear. If I click that plus, it will automatically insert a row in that area. If you know another way to do this, it is fine to do it another way. This is a newer feature of Office 2019. So let me go ahead and type my text in that row. Let's go ahead and add more text to our letter. Now we're at a point where we are going to talk about a bulleted list. So on my Home tab in the paragraph area are the option to make bullets. So I'm going to click the bullet and then type a list of tasks that the student must do before orientation. Once I have finished my bulleted list and I want to stop bulleting lines, if I hit enter a second time, it will start a new paragraph with the right kind of paragraph formatting. I am going to hit enter one more time to give a space between that bulleted list. And then I'll finish up my letter. When I go to do my signature, I'm going to use that tab stop I set. So remember that it's still set at 3.5. So now I just need to use it by hitting my tab key so that I can align sincerely with the date above it. 4 enters between sincerely, and then use the tab stop again to put the name.
Now that we've finished our letter, it's time to add the schedule on a second page. So first we need to insert a page break, so the schedule goes on its own page. So that's Insert tab, Pages, Page Break. Then we want to go ahead and center our cursor for the title of the schedule and type some text. Then I'm going to select the title, and add a paragraph border to this title. So similarly to how we did the bottom paragraph border up on the letter, we are going to go to the Home tab paragraph area and look inside of the border options. So let's come all the way down to the bottom and go to borders and shading. So we have all of our options, and then choose our style. So 1, 2, 3. So we want this style, and we want the color of that to be orange accent 2, and we want the width to be 2 1/4. And notice that it's applying it to the paragraph, and I can click OK. Now I do want to go ahead and change the size of my font here. So let's change the size of the font to 36 points. Let's change the font color to orange accent 2. Oops, orange accent 2, darker 25%. And let's bold our text. We'll come down below that paragraph, and remember, after you add a paragraph border, you have to clear formatting. Otherwise, there's a potential for that formatting from the paragraph above to stick with your cursor. So I'm going to click my clear formatting button, and it clears the formatting on my cursor. Let's apply a style and continuing entering more text. So Home tab, we want the no spacing style, and we want our font size to be 14, and let's go ahead and type some text. Now let's take a look at underlining. I'd like to underline 2 days, so I'm going to select 2 days. And then here's my underline button. This is kind of a neat feature of Office 2019. You have some options on what kind of underlining you want to do. So I can pick a dotted line if I want for my underline. I can also pick a color for it too as well. So we're going to do the underline color orange accent 2. The Format Painter is a handy button. It allows you to copy the formatting of one area to another area in your document. So on your Home tab in your clipboard area, there's a paintbrush. So after you've selected the text that you want to copy the formatting for, you look in that area, click on that paintbrush, and if you'll notice, it toggles on and off. So it's on right now. And when I hover over text, you see my little paintbrush. Now I can click and drag through Dress Accordingly, and it will copy the formatting of that underline to those words. Doesn't copy the words, just the type of formatting. Next, let's talk about inserting a Smart Art graphic. So this is an insert command. So let's look on the Insert tab. And there's the option for a Smart Art graphic. I'll click on that, and there's lots of different choices throughout here. I want the one that's called Grouped List. So I'll click OK. There's my grouped list. Now, this has 3 groups. I only want 2. So to delete a shape, if I click on the outline of the shape and hit delete, that will delete one of them, delete again, keep doing it, and finally it resizes and gives me 2 columns, now 2 shapes. Where it says text in the brackets, those are actually called placeholders because it's holding the place for text. So let me click in the placeholder and type day 1. And then I'll come down here to the bottom, check, and notice how it's resizing my size depending upon how much text is in that shape. I do want some more shapes in this group. So to do that, notice I have a Smart Art Tools tab with a Design and Format options. On the Design tab, there's an area where I can add a shape. This will add another shape for me, and I can keep going with my day 1 schedule. I'm going to add another shape and continue on typing my schedule. I'm going to type my whole schedule and then I will start back up the recorder. See you in a few. Okay, we're back. I have typed the whole schedule. I've used the add shape to add multiple shapes to both of these groups, and now it's time to do a little formatting. So on my Smart Art Tools tab, under Design, I have some Smart Art styles and options to go with those styles. So let's start by changing the colors to colorful accent colors. I will change the colors in my graphic. Okay, now it's time to resize my graphic. So I'm going to look under the View tab and choose in the Zoom area multiple pages so I can see my entire document, and go back into the Smart Art Tools Format button area and find Subtle Effect. There we go. So let me resize by hovering over the corner and clicking and dragging my handle on my Smart Art graphic until it looks like everything is all on one line. And looks like the picture. There we go. So now I think I'm about done with this. Let me go ahead and save. Now, at the end of this chapter, it also talks about how to print labels and envelopes. So that starts on your paper book on page WD 357. So if that's something that you need to know how to do, I highly recommend you check that out. Otherwise, for today, we are done. See you in class.